Hello, my name is Lidia Bañuelos, and today I'm going to talk about setting up a project, the teacher and learner roles, some difficulties with implementing project work, and finally, I'm going to show you my proposal of a project work. Let's begin. Setting up a project. A project activity allows students to act as authors and initiators, strengthen their creative endeavors, broaden their outlook, and develop their language skills. What is a project work? It's a theme and task-centered mode of teaching and learning which results from a joint process of negotiation between all participants. Project learning realizes a dynamic balance between a process and a product orientation. Project work is experiential and holistic because it bridges the dualism between body and mind, theory and practice, experience and thinking. The stages involved in setting up project work, according to Friedboth, involves three key stages. Classroom planning, where students and teachers discuss the content and scope of the project. Carrying out a project, where students move out of the classroom to perform the task they have planned. At this stage, students will be using all four skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Reviewing and monitoring the work means the discussions and feedback sessions during and after the project. The stages involved in setting up a project, according to Rivera and Vital, involves 10 basic steps. Creating a good classroom atmosphere, getting the class interested, select the topic, creating a general outline of the project, doing basic research around the topic, reporting to the class, processing feedback, putting it all together, presenting the project, and assessing and evaluating the project. The stages involved in setting up a project, according to Legutke and Thomas, consist in 6 main stages: opening, topic orientation, research and data collection, preparing data, presentation, and evaluation. Backward planning, according to Legutke and Thomas, is an integral part of successful project implementation. This means that a main target task is identified and other tasks arise naturally out of the need to fulfill this target task. Once a target task has been chosen, teacher and learners need to specify the essential preparatory steps. Some examples of target tasks include to produce a silent anthology of students' poetry, to design a feature film based on a short story or novel, for example, or to design a brochure for foreign tourists about one's hometown, for example. Now let's talk about a teacher's role. As can you see, the roles of the teacher, some of them are this, but you know, a teacher has a lot of roles. A teacher as an organizer, because it clears institutions, plans has to plan the lesson, and the teacher becomes an investigator because he uses observation and he looks for new activities and strategies. The teacher is prompter because the teacher gives recommendations. The teacher as participant because the teacher takes part in the activities, improve the classroom atmosphere. And the teacher as a controller because duty to arrange what students do. The teacher is a resource because it gives advices and helps the students. The teacher is tutor because acts as a coach and resource giving assistance. And teachers and evaluator because it designs evaluations and gives feedback to the students. The learner roles, for example, the learner roles of the learner can be broken down into 3 component parts. Learning in the here and now, because the learners are involved in learning about something in their work. Learners' faculties are involved affective, intellectual, and physical. Experimentation and reflection. Learners are discoverers. They found out about things through a process of hypothesis making, verification, and experimentation. The project learner is also reflective. Remember, the learners reflect back on the project to draw conclusions and make hypotheses which will affect future project work. The project work is a form of experiential learning where learners learn through doing experientially. Learner independence, autonomy. The project work is effective in promoting learners' autonomy or experiential cycles that head in the learner's awareness for understanding, improvement, and directing their own learning. Encourage independent decision-making and a deal of responsibility for decisions to the learner and the cooperative group. Include the learner in the decision-making process about topics, content, materials, learning, and the management of it. The teacher still plays an important role as facilitator in this process independence. The learner independence or autonomy is at the heart of current communicative approaches to language teaching. Some of the difficulties with implemented project work is time, problems in the group dynamics, teacher's role in the process classroom, deal with error, clarity, and group monitoring. Teachers can avoid these problems by careful planning and monitoring. Teachers' role requires flexibility. Don't forget that teachers become a leader, a coordinator, a monitor, a participant, a consultant, etc. Now, let me present my proposal of a project work. What is my project about and provide context? The name of the project is a garage sale. And when it will be applied, it will be applied at school as an oral presentation in open class. And the student's age is 10 years old, 5th grade students. And it is going to be focused on writing and speaking skills. I relay the process of implementing project work following the 6 main stages proposed by Ligutti and Thomas. Opening. I must explain clearly what project work is, an endeavor that requires the selection of suitable members to accomplish all the tasks during the month. At this stage, a team from previous grade is going to present its projects on the class to show students what is expected from them. Topic orientation. By introducing the text or the reading how to have a garage sale to the group, they are going to know the topic. I'm going to include some videos and the students are going to get interested. At this stage, teachers usually listen attentively, ask questions in order to clarify ideas and help to create a good classroom atmosphere. Research and data collection. At this stage, students must think about collecting data from their project. Students need to consider the following issues. For example, what kind of data is relevant to the project? Where will the data be collected? Are there likely to be any practical difficulties in collecting the data? How much information is needed to satisfy the aims of the project? Preparing presentation. Written skills facilitate the process of carrying out the data processing. In this kind of work, it is very important to be able to review the materials containing books, journals, articles, or websites in order to decide on their relevance to the topic. Read with the aim of extracting information and ideas relevant to the topic of the project. Make connections between ideas already read and ideas currently being read in order to build up arguments and complete ideas. In this stage, students must have a precise idea about the final presentation. They have to organize the information they already considered useful for the project. Presentation. At this stage, students must think of the structure and format of their presentation. The team will have to decide on issues such as how they will motivate the audience. After having defined all these issues, students must rehearse in order to guarantee good pronunciation, to calculate the time needed for the presentation, and make necessary arguments. Evaluation. Students are going to be assessed throughout their work on the project in order to give them timely feedback to redirect their actions. Since both process and product are valued, students are going to be assessed on their participation in class, their participation in teamwork out of class, and their presentations in class. The teacher's role is to analyze and use information obtained to make an overall assessment of students' performance. And let me show you some of the material that I'm going to use on this project work. This is a text and reading about a garage sale. This is a reading from the book from the reading book they use at school. Okay, the name of the text is Trails by University Dayton Publishing, and they are going to read how to have a garage sale, and they are going to see some examples of how to do this garage sale. Some of the advertisements, they have some examples of the classifieds or advertisement or the things they have to do to make a successful garage sale. Some of the materials I'm going to give to them is, for example, a list of suggestions to how to make a successful project work. For example, the first thing I'm going to explain to them is about the project and the elements of the project, or the requirements in the project. For example, they need to decide whether you're going to sell clothes, furniture, paintings, toys, books, all new things, etc. They need to advertise the sale. For example, they have to make an advertisement and write the most important information. They have to make a sign to indicate where's the garage sale. And I'm going to explain they have to include important information like the street name and the time, and they have to make sure the sign is readable and check spelling. And I'm going to explain that they need to include a speech and questions that they are going to use in the selling. And I'm going to remember them that they have to practice. They have to keep practicing on the pronunciation. Okay, some suggestions for the action plan. They have to do the following things. For example, divide the big task of working on a project and doing a final presentation of, and they have to divide in smaller steps or activities, a list of those activities. They have to think about what they're going to need, or they are going to decide who's going to do each activity, for example, and they have to make a schedule about the meetings or about the days they are going to work in this project out of school. And Also, I'm going to make some suggestions for successful project work. For example, write down the names and the telephone number of each team member, make sure the time and the place for the following meeting, and I'm going to suggest them to come to the meeting with something to contribute to the project. For example, materials, websites, names of people can provide information in the project. Something like that. They just suggestions to have a successful project work. Another materials I'm going to use is about they are going to make an evaluation of their project work. It's a self assessment of their project work. For example, these formats are for the leader of each team, of each group, and the leader of captain of this team is going to fill this formats out, and they have the instructions. I think there are clear instructions in here in each format. For example, in the space provided in the first file, write the names of your team members. Then under each member, write the word that best answered the question. Choose among the following. For example, never, rarely, sometimes, often, always. Okay, for example, some of the questions are, does he or she read the materials? Does he or she bring materials for the project? Does he or she use English in the discussions, for example? And other format is about the class participation, and have some questions here. For example, it has some questions here. For example, is he or she are prepared to participate in class? Does he or she ask questions? Does he or she answer the questions promptly, for example? And again, the words here, never, rarely, sometimes, often, and always. And the last format is about a project presentation. Okay, that you're going to evaluate their own work in this project. It is a good way to not to look at the witnesses. It's to improve the skills, to improve the way they present the project. Okay, and I think this kind of evaluate or a self-assessment or auto-evaluation is good for each member of the group. As a conclusion, teacher projects help us. They provide a necessary measure of learner and teacher autonomy and create a continuous flow of input and output, as well as the needs and opportunities of processing both. Projects increase motivation and create a sense of achievement in the students. They provide language and skill integration and an authentic framework for classroom activity that not only opens a door to the real world, but also turns the language class into a virtual replica of it. Those are the reference of this assignment, and thank you, Professor, for all your support and all the things you share with me. Okay, see you the next time. Have a nice day.